What is up, YouTube? You're with Budgetmonk, and this is quite literally a advertisement here, guys, for my yesterday's stream. I'm going to be continuing to stream this game in particular, and I want to show it off because if I am successful in my endeavors here, I'm going to be awfully hyped and definitely be making a video about that achievement. And yeah, it might come as an awful surprise to some people if it just comes out of nowhere, because basically when I started streaming first quarter this year, I spent that entire time, like 3 months, working towards a one Roman culture. Many people thought that in this current patch it was teetering on impossible to actually do a one culture run. But not only did we do a one culture run, we're, for the memes, for the themes, we're doing an extra hard one culture run as a lost culture group of Rome. And I achieved that. I achieved it. It was a lot of hard work and I achieved it, but I learnt a lot. And I decided here after that, I actually wanted to play Imperial Rome, and Imperial Rome was a bit of a flop, quite frankly. And I was a little bit disillusioned or disheveled. I didn't know exactly what I should be doing. And I have decided that I'm attempting, while I can, before Paradox makes it truly impossible to do such a thing, I'm attempting to do the same thing on very hard difficulty. So this is one almost 12-hour stream in. It's 15:08. And this is our current state of affairs. It was a pretty dramatic game, as what ended up happening is we were completely blocked out by diplomacy. There's a really shrewd tactic, guys, to PUing Bohemia, where this state here belongs to Saxony. He shares this province in a state as well as this state with Brandenburg. And it is very likely that both Saxony and Brandenburg will help you in an offensive war to PU Bohemia if you promise them land. And of course, you give them the land. Then, hilariously, you can actually demand them to return the unlawful territory, which they typically will do, after they've helped you against Bohemia. I was unable to get any help whatsoever against Bohemia, and I had to actually fight him by myself on very hard difficulty, as well as all of his allies. Keep in mind, he had like 3 or 4 one province minor allies, and one province minor in this game has about 10k force limit on very hard difficulty. So 4 allies or 3 allies is like 30 or 40,000 troops. It's extremely difficult. And there it is, boys, the Burgundian inheritance around 1477. We actually were struggling so hard with diplomacy. We achieved that, and my next step was to go in towards Venice, looking at the reign of Italy, reign in northern Italy, and his diplomacy was with France. I did actually manage, though, to realize that Burgundy is rivaling Venice. So what we did is we allied Burgundy because I take a reputation advisor and I royal marry Burgundy on day 1. Otherwise, it's like impossible to get a royal marriage with him. And if you don't have the royal marriage, it's very unlikely that you'll get the Burgundian inheritance. It could go to Castile. So we actually opted to ally Burgundy, considering we had the alliance, the royal marriage and so on, and we dowed Provence, feeding Burgundy Provence's land, hoping to earn an empowered Burgundian inheritance. But more importantly, with Burgundy on our side, we separate France to annul his alliance with Venice, and then we gained favors with Burgundy to go straight in against Venice. So it was a very convoluted route of actually expanding here, being extremely boxed out by diplomacy. We did have to PU Hungary the old-fashioned way, actually enforce a personal union over him as well. And yeah, lo and behold, it looked extremely unlikely. He actually had a female ruler over here in Burgundy, which means it's impossible if they have a female ruler. But we did pull off a pretty late, considering we're trying to have the best game of all time. That's the idea. Burgundian inheritance here around the mid 1470s. I was absolutely ecstatic. Look at that. amazing. At this stage, we have Bohemia, Hungary, and the inheritance, including the entire state of Lorraine. Feeling really thrilled about this game, very hard difficulty, and we did manage to reign in Italy. It was brutal. It was really brutal. We barely got there, but we did. However, this run was not met without tragedy, guys. One of my tactics is to actually take Krakow and core it via Bohemia from Poland. And then you use the return core province to Poland after adding it to the Holy Roman Empire. This will then give you imperial ban against Poland. And by using imperial ban CB, you can release Mirzovia. When you release Mirzovia, this will be after he has moved his capital to Mirzovia. He will then move his capital to Krakow, which is the tag's actual capital city, bringing him inside the Holy Roman Empire. Then he will add his land. However, we were struggling, having a hard game on very hard difficulty, manhandling many nations. I was really proud of myself. We did an excellent job managing our economy. I've built up a really strong Austria here. And lo and behold, we lost the emperorship. It came from a excommunication, as France was elected the courier controller, when, of course, the Papal State was absolutely pissed at us with the shenanigans that we were performing out here. And there was a small window to become excommunicated. He did excommunicate me, which made it more difficult to get elected. And there was a small window later, because we were still being elected, where one of the electors was eliminated, and I wasn't voted for. My ruler passed away. RIP. Tragedy. And Poland was elected the emperor. This is part of the reason that all of his land has been added to the empire at this stage. I genuinely thought that was a 1444, but this is our situation. Look at that magnanimous empire. We have just been re-elected the emperorship with it, and yeah, I've got a lot of other strategies in mind. We've worked away fairly well at France. We've surrounded him diplomatically, but you can see we've taken a grand total of 4 provinces from him. We have quite some provinces, I think about 12 provinces to add to the empire, which have not been added, and we're currently able to integrate Hungary as of the end of last year. So that's, of course, imperial authority. The Protestant Reformation has just broken out, and I was able to eliminate one center in Hessen, as it was the capital city, and so far, so good. These have actually spawned in capital cities, so despite coming right to the brink here of suffering in almost 1444, this is a turn of good luck. Unfortunately, Pomerania was my ally, so I do have a truce with him, and I cannot enforce religion on him yet. We also just got out of a massive war with Danzig to actually spread the empire towards the Baltic Sea, where we're going to actually end up having a Catholic Novgorodian Russia, which is key to this one faith, which is kind of a precursor to the one culture run. And yeah, I had a 15 years truce with Danzig, where the first center of Reformation spawned. So it has taken its toll. We have had some heretics, which I am and going to have to continue enforcing religions on, but these 2 centers should be converted and eliminated in due time. It will be hard, but doable. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is very similar to my previous attempt. We are finally at that stage where we are just rolling in reputation as Austria, having unlocked this, and this, etc., as well as the Papal State bonus and so on, and we have no issue any longer being voted for. Well, I don't have an heir right now, because we just got elected, so that's not true. But if I did have an heir, we would have no issue. So we're kind of stable. We're kind of stable. I have done the same thing to Denmark. The tactic is to take Holsten, and next up, we're going to imperial ban him. Oh, it's not true. I'm just going to take his capital and return it here. Denmark will be inside. But yeah, guys, when Poland became the emperor, we had about 35 imperial authority. He added his entire nation to the empire, which was honestly about 28 provinces. That combined with the fact that I did not get 10 imperial authority, and we now have a young ruler, we don't have that on the horizon, we're talking well over half of a reform we're behind. And it doesn't include the last 10 years or so that the Poles have been squandering the imperial authority, as well as gaining less because they're not Austria, but also squandering it, demanding unlawful territory left, right, and center. We are honestly near one entire reform behind compared to my sort of a previous good successful attempt, which is pretty hard and frustrating. But I did actually achieve that attempt. I overkilled it a little bit. So I'm somewhat optimistic. I'm hanging in here. One of my biggest concerns is the Ottomans, who we are yet to actually push back in any manner. Look at this ruler. Man, yeah. We have made some headway against France. We have not the Ottomans, and I'm actually dependent on Muscovy to help us against the Ottomans, which you should do with favors because they're a different religion. However, we have to work away at Muscovy with Novgorod as well. So, extremely awkward circumstance. I feel like the world is on my shoulders, but we're here. We're doing it. I thought I would give you guys a heads up. And yeah, my Twitch link is down below where I live stream 6 times a week. 6 times a week, yeah. So, all but one day. And I hope you guys enjoy if you do stop by as I attempt to achieve the seemingly unachievable, the one Roman culture run on very hard difficulty. I've never tried something so difficult in my life, and it's exciting and exhilarating, but I'm also, boy, is it nerve-wracking. I was so upset when I thought this game was ruined, and I mean, it might come right down to the wire, and yeah, maybe it was ruined by these course of events, but we're pushing on. So that's it. I hope to see you guys live. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.